All right, in this video, we're going to talk about solving multi-step equations. So in order to do that, we need to talk about the order of operations. Some people use PEMDAS. I use GEMS. It's the same thing. It's just I think this one is a little bit easier for me to remember. So it's totally up to you what you're going to use. But G is for grouping symbols. E is for exponents. Then we're going to, M is for multiply or divide from left to right, whichever one shows up first. And S is for subtract or add from left to right, again, whichever one shows up first. So the reason we need to talk about order of operations is because in order to solve equations, we have to use the order of operations backwards. So the steps for solving equations are first we distribute anything that has parentheses and combine like terms. So step one, distribute and combine like terms. Step two, we're going to start at S in our order of operations, and we're going to work up. As we work up, we're going to do step three. We perform the opposite operation, which is called the inverse operation, on both sides of the equal sign. I know that sounds a little bit confusing right now, but let's jump in with a couple examples, and that should clear it up. So this first example, I have 8.7n plus 4.5 minus 3.2n equals 37.5. So step one, we need to distribute. We don't have any of that. And combine like terms. Well, I've got this 8.7n minus 3.2n. Those are like terms because they're both multiplied by n. So we can combine those. So 8.7 minus 3.2 is going to get us 5.5n. And then we didn't change anything about this plus 4.5. We didn't have anything to combine it with, and we didn't change anything on the other side. So we can equals 37.5. Okay, now step two, start at S. So S, subtract or add. Well, right here I've got addition, and I know that step three says I need to do the opposite operation. So instead of add, I'm going to subtract 4.5. And I have to do it on both sides of the equal sign. So now 5.5n, we didn't change that, so we're going to bring it down. Positive 4.5 minus 4.5 cancels out. So it equals 33. But we're trying to get n by itself, so we need to keep going. We did subtract and add, there's no more of that. The next letter would be m, multiply or divide. And right here we've got 5.5, and right here we've got 5.5 times n. The opposite of multiply would be to divide. So you're going to divide by 5.5. 5.5 divided by 5.5 is 1n equals, and then 33 divided by 5.5 is 6. So n equals 6. And we can stop there, n's by itself. There's nothing else we can do. All right, let's look at another example here. All right, 0.2 times 3 plus p equals negative 5.6. So our first step is to distribute or combine like terms. Well, I've got some distributing here to do because I've got this number outside the parentheses. So 0.2 times 3 0.6 plus 0.2 times p is just 0.2 p equals, and then we didn't change anything over here, so negative 5.6. Okay, now we start at S and work backwards. So subtract or add. Right here, we're adding this 0.6 on to the 2. Notice we always use we're trying to use the ones that don't have letters yet. So the opposite of this add 0.6 would be subtract 0.6. Okay, this cancels out 0.2p equals negative 5.6 minus 0.6 would be negative 6.2. Okay, so I've already subtracted and added. Next would be multiply or divide. Right here we've got 0.2 times p, so we've got to divide by 0.2 to do the opposite. Negative 6.2 divided by 0.2 is negative 31. There's our answer. Let's try one more example of this, just to make sure we really get it. Okay, so I've got 1/4 x plus 1/3 equals 2/3. Distribute, I don't have any distributing to do. There's no like terms to combine, so I can start at s and work backwards. So subtract or add. Right here I've got add 1/3. The opposite would be subtract 1/3. Do it on both sides. So I've got 1/4 x, these cancel out, equals 2/3 minus 1/3 would be 1/3. Okay, so I'm done with subtract and add. Next is multiply and divide. So here we've got 1/4 times x, and to do this we need to divide by 1/4. But when we divide by a fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal. So we're just going to flip over the fraction and multiply. So it's 4/1. So multiply by 4/1 on both sides. This cancels out, so we've got x equals 1 times 4 is 4, 3 times 1 is 3, and if we simplify, x equals 1 and 1/3. So remember, to solve a multi-step equation, or any equation at all, we're going to distribute and combine like terms first. Then we're going to start at s in our order of operations and work up. And as we go, we're going to perform the opposite operation on both sides of the equal sign. So we're just doing the opposite of what the equation wants you to do. And that is how we solve multi-step